The goal of the spiritual path is not to have no mind. It's not to have no thought. And it's not to negate all the wisdom and knowledge that we've accumulated that helps us navigate the world. But it's to come to a place where we are no longer identified with the mind. We're no longer attached to knowing, to our certainties and stories. We're discovering a way of living where we don't need to have any certainty to sort of leap forward into each new moment and circumstance, where our heart is wide open regardless of how much we already know, what our level of certainty already is.
Welcome to Meditation Changes Everything with spiritual teacher Craig Hamilton, a podcast exploring the deeper potentials of meditation practice and how it can change every aspect of human life. In this episode, Craig explores what it means to meditate with a beginner's mind. We all know the value of being open-minded and receptive to new ideas, but on the spiritual path, this posture of profound receptivity becomes essential. What would it mean to truly live without preconceptions? To approach each moment of meditation and of life with fresh eyes? Today, Craig guides us on an inquiry into this extraordinary possibility. We hope you enjoy the show. Here's Craig.
I want to invite us all to take a moment to just settle in, letting go of anything that's on your mind, cares and concerns of your life. Allowing yourself to just sink into this timeless, infinite moment. Just bringing your attention to this moment of consciousness, this moment of presence, just being here, conscious and present. And notice that whatever your mind is doing right now, whether there are thoughts present, or very few thoughts present, or no thoughts present, really doesn't matter to consciousness. That who and what you are is so much deeper and wider than the thoughts bubbling up in your mind. And you can make room for the mind to be running its own programs. Even as your inner freedom expands and opens and deepens. Realize that the mind was never you, was never the self, who you really are. And it never has been an obstacle. It never will be an obstacle. I want to invite you to just gently ease out of this opening meditation. Allowing this field of unknowing, this spaciousness to establish itself as the backdrop for our work today. So I felt this would be a really good place to begin the fundamental practice of innocence, opening to innocence. Now, innocence in the way, often in conventional terms we hear the word innocence and we think kind of guilty or innocent. It's probably the way it's most often used. But the innocence that I'm pointing to is it's a deeper layer that's probably maybe behind that, more conventional usage, but it's really pointing to who we were before we ever knew anything, before we ever began to construct a story about reality or about ourself. It's this native innocence of consciousness itself, comfortable in the unknown, no need to impose meaning, no need to get a handle on things so we can control things. It's deep fundamental trust that allows us to remain open no matter what's occurring. To stay innocent, meaning to meet every moment with fresh eyes. To not become hardened, jaded, rigid in our interpretations, our stories, our beliefs. To be ever new. To have what the great Suzuki Roshi called a beginner's mind. A beginner's mind. We all accumulate knowledge. We all accumulate life experience. That informs our ability to navigate life better and better with more and more intelligence. And all of that's good. We become experts in living. But what would it be to have all of our expertise in living, all of our know-how about how things work and how to do things and how to be successful and achieve and avoid difficulties and unnecessary problems, all that wisdom, but still come to each moment with a beginner's mind, not denying or negating our wisdom, our expertise, our knowing, but still meeting each moment as if it were the first moment, each problem as if it were the first problem, without imposing our ideas on it, our beliefs, our assumptions, our preconceptions. What would it be to meet each person in our life every day with a beginner's mind? Think about the people you know well, family members, coworkers. What would it be like to encounter them anew every day? Who or what is this person today? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Who are they going to be? Again, not negating what we already know about people, because it's important. You know, someone you work with, it's important to know, how much can I count on them to hit that deadline? How much can I count on them to be attentive to the details? You know, maybe they're good at the big picture, so I can count on them to have a great creative idea, but I better double check, that they dotted the I's and crossed the T's. Otherwise, we're going to hand something in that's messy. And if you know that about someone, it's good that you know that, and you need to know that, so that that's again the wisdom that enables us to get better and better at living, better and better at navigating life, knowing other people, knowing their strengths, their weaknesses, their tendencies, their potential pitfalls, and their genius, so we can sponsor it and fan the flames of it. But still, so how do we allow all of that knowing about each other to be there, but still meet each other with innocence, ready to be surprised? We all aspire to live in an evolutionary culture, an evolutionary world where everyone's growing and changing and evolving, and we're supporting each other to grow and change and evolve. Like the world, if it needs anything, it needs that, right? We all want to see everyone realize their potential, so that means everyone's got to grow a lot and change a lot to realize their full potential, and we want that. But to what degree do our assumptions, beliefs, stories, preconceptions about each other create a kind of box or a kind of a constraint on each other's natural ability to grow? We see this in childhood education, right? Some of the research that's come out that if a teacher expects a student to do well, they've done some of these studies where they told a teacher about an incoming class, and they said, Johnny is really smart and has great test scores, and And, Jimmy is kind of a bad student. He's not so bright. Da, da, da. And then but they've made this up. And then they tracked those students' progress through the year and found that sure enough, those kids did perform not according to their true abilities, but according to what the teacher had been told their abilities were. So what the teacher expected from them is exactly what they delivered. So what we expect from each other, and again, we're free adults. We all like to think we have a lot of agency, autonomy. We're not constrained by the assumptions and beliefs of others. Many of us have done a lot of work to break out of, the lens our parents saw us through, or, a negative lens that a former spouse, had been seeing us through. And, we've done a lot of that work to clear that and break free from it. But my point is just that there's a social fabric of already knowing kind of deep reference points where we hold each other down, where we not intentionally just, this is the byproduct of our story making, meaning making, need to have reference points. A world of reference points for reality, or reference points about other people, or mental model of ourself, who we are, what we're good at, what we're not, what we believe in, what we don't, what our values are. We have this whole mental model of the self-concept. We have a mental model, a reference point, stories about the world and how life works, how people are as a whole. And it's, these models are relatively accurate, meaning some of them are more accurate than others. Some of our stories are truer than others. Some of our interpretations and beliefs are, more representative of the real, and some of them are less so, more delusional, more distorted. The goal of the spiritual path is not to have no mind. It's not to have no thought. And it's not to negate all the wisdom and knowledge that we've accumulated that helps us navigate the world. But it's to come to a place where we are no longer identified with the mind. We're no longer attached to knowing, to our certainties and stories. Where we're no longer invested in what we know. Where we don't really need to know. We're discovering a way of living where we don't need to have any certainty to sort of leap forward into each new moment and circumstance and situation and challenge, opportunity. Where our heart is wide open, regardless of how much we already know, what our level of certainty already is. We're all on a path of having clearer and clearer, understanding, more and more accurate knowing, being less and less ignorant. It's just part of the human journey. We're all trying to be less ignorant, right? Oh, would it be so? Really, in large part, the way we do that is we get good at questioning our assumptions, suspending our beliefs, challenging our own worldviews, taking risks to go beyond what we think already, our limiting beliefs. And that's part of being a good, mature, growth-oriented, evolutionary person. It's how we get more access to just practical wisdom, clear seeing, good judgment, decision making, problem solving. So we're all on that journey. We've all done a lot of work on that journey. But there's perhaps nothing that we can do that has as radical an impact as the meditation practice of letting go of the mind entirely. In other words, there's almost nothing we can do that will create a more enlightened relationship to the mind than sitting still for a period of time every day and having no involvement with thought, severing our identification with the mind. Because we don't have to do anything when we're meditating, it gives us a rare opportunity to simply give up any involvement with thought. It's very hard. It's hard to do that during the day. It's not impossible, and we'll experiment with that. What's it like to live, to engage without thought? It's an experiment. It's not a goal. But in meditation, we can give it up, let it go. And it's a very direct path to awakening, because when consciousness is freed from its fixation on the mind, even for a moment, it instantly begins to know something else. It becomes aware of the mystery of its own nature. Consciousness becomes aware of consciousness. You become aware of something infinite. The infinite, miraculous depth of your own true being beyond the mind. So, this month, we're coming back to the very beginning and exploring these practices designed to help us step directly into our primordial innocence, to have a beginner's mind in each moment. So when we're practicing not knowing in meditation or going beyond the mind in meditation, there's a number of elements to it. If you look at the main ways that knowing presents itself in meditation, it's trying to label our experience, naming things, that's what this is. Thoughts about this is what this is what this is, labeling, naming. Naming our feelings. I'm tense. Oh, I'm really meditating now. I feel so peaceful. It's kind of saying what things are. Then there's interpreting our experience, making meaning. This is what this means. Ooh, I'm feeling very blissful. I must be doing it right. Oh, I must be on the brink of enlightenment. Or oh, I'm very feeling drowsy and sluggish. I must be resistant. I must not be wanting to go where the practice is taking me. I'm a bad meditator. Or maybe that's the next one, sorry. So that's interpreting. Then there's evaluating or judging, which is more what I was just starting to get to. I'm a bad meditator. It's bad or good. So there's the naming of it. There's the trying to make meaning about it. What does it mean? Then there's the evaluating or judging. Is bad or good? Oh yeah, this is a good sign. This is a bad sign. Hear all the story making in there. And then problem solving is another one. I'm going to fix this. What do I need to do about this? Now that I've figured out it's bad, I need to make it go away. I need to get my meditation back on track. So now we're trying to solve the problem that we've identified. And then there are all kinds of other ways we engage with the mind. They're just sort of random daydreaming, etc., or planning, creating, imagining. So the key to these practices in the end is that we're not engaging with any of that. All of that I just described might still arise, but we're not playing along. We're not participating. It's happening, but we're not part of it. We're meditating instead. Okay. I think it's time we do some meditation. To begin, I want to invite you to please settle into your meditation posture. Becoming aware of your own presence in this moment. Conscious, awake. Free. This practice is I would call stepping back from the mind. So as you sit here, whenever you notice yourself engaged with the thought, just inwardly take a step back out of engagement with the thought. Let the thought become simply an object out in front of you. Again, I'm using a visual spatial metaphor, but just work with that in whatever way is natural to you. Just stepping back. Oh, I'm embedded in the thought. My attention's on it. I'm engaged. I'm just going to step back. And you just keep, there's no wall behind you. So you can step back as many times as you need to stay out of embeddedness in thought. That's the goal. You're just staying out of embeddedness by stepping back. Now try simply not getting involved in the mind in the first place. You're not trying to control the mind or stop the mind from thinking, but you're simply renouncing the mind, renouncing any involvement with the mind. You see the mind as a kind of kind of temptation or a kind of invitation to engage, and you're not having any part of it. You're just not getting involved. See if you can just sit here, still and present, and not get involved in the mind. Now, what if you were to have no interest in thought, no interest in the mind in the first place? Step into the part of yourself that has no interest in thought at all. Allow yourself to practice for the next few minutes, being completely uninterested in whatever your mind produces. There's no interest. Not interested. Now, I want to invite you to relax into the part of yourself that actually doesn't need to know. Doesn't need to know anything. Let go of the need to have any idea what's going on in your meditation, how it's going, whether it's good or bad, what's happening, what it means. Just allow yourself to rest in this fundamental trust that you don't need to know. You know, all those theories and stories and concepts and interpretations are interesting, but you don't need them. There's just you in this moment as it is. No need to know anything at all. Experience the freedom of not needing to know. And finally, I want to invite you to connect with your own love of the unknown, your own passion for the unknown. Why are you on the spiritual path? Whether you would name it this way or not, there is a part of you that yearns to know the mystery of who you are beyond the mind, that is enthralled by depth, by vastness, by limitlessness. It longs to know the extraordinary, that which is so incomprehensible and unimaginable that the mind will never touch it or really know anything about it. Allow yourself for the next few minutes to simply rest in your love of the unknown. And let it take you far beyond the mind. Allow yourself to gently begin to let go of the meditation. Just allowing all of these brief experiments and practice to just coalesce and allow the momentum of your practice to just simply take on a life of its own and allow it to flow into your day and into your week in whatever way it does naturally. Continue to be interested in these different inner movements and lenses on not knowing, and experiment with them in your life and be very open and innocent to what you might discover. Thank you.
This podcast is supported by our paying members in Craig's Awakened Life membership program. When you join the Awakened Life, each month you'll receive in-depth teachings and guidance in the practice of direct awakening, including a meditation workshop, 4 guided meditations, and a live online retreat with Craig. And when you register today, you can receive your first month for 50% off. Go to awakenedlifemembership.com to learn more and enroll. If you enjoyed today's episode, we hope you'll share our show with others. And please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you have a minute to write a short review on your podcast app, we would deeply appreciate your support. You can stay connected to the show by subscribing to our newsletter at meditationchangeseverything.com. Each week, we'll send you new audios and videos from Craig, and we'll also let you know when we release new episodes of the show. If the approach to meditation we've been exploring today inspires you, you are invited to tune into a 90-minute online workshop Craig will be hosting called Meditation 2.0, The Miracle of Direct Awakening. In the workshop, he'll share a powerful new approach to meditation practice and guide you in a series of brief meditation experiments so you can experience it for yourself. You can listen to that at freemeditationworkshop.com. That's freemeditationworkshop.com. Check out our show notes for links to all the ways you can stay in touch with Craig's work. Meditation Changes Everything is created by Craig Hamilton, Susan Fries, Morgan Dix, Stephanie Murphy, Will Bowman, and Richard Klein. From all of us, thank you for tuning in.